Now on CoastTV News.
Gate debate. Why Lewis is looking at preventing the construction of gated communities. Warnings at ocean waters, where Denrick is issuing swim advisories, and why.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Pensick and welcome to CoastTV News Midday. And our top story is that Lewis is considering prohibiting gates on private areas and streets within city limits. Now, to our knowledge, there currently are no gated communities in Lewis. It appears officials are looking to keep it that way. The city did not provide a reason for this proposed code change, but one member of the Planning Commission told CoastTV he believes it's based on past developers looking at having gates with their communities. And they're looking to stop that from happening in the future. People living in Lewis that we spoke with hope the city does make this rule official.
I don't see where there'll ever be a need for a gated community based on the way the town's currently configured and where, you're going to put a gated community. I don't see that being any need for a gated community to stop any type of traffic flow.
Yeah, and this issue is now being reviewed at the council meeting taking place today. Also happening today in Lewis, there was an attempt by 12 people living on Hornkill Avenue. They're requesting annexation into the city. This is the area that we're talking about, starting at 18 Hornkill Avenue and moving southwest. A committee was formed to address this issue. First meeting of the Lewis Annexation Committee is taking place today at City Hall. Now we're going to take a live look in Rehoboth Beach. This is late Wednesday morning. It is a good day to hit the beach. Lots of people there, Bob, already. And we bring in First Alert meteorologist Bob Trihey with a look at First Alert weather.
Look at all those umbrellas, Matt. Good morning to you. Beautiful beach day. A little cooler at the beach, 78 Lewis and Bethany Beach. Inland areas, you're into the low 80s, 81 in Georgetown and Millsboro right now. Dew point temperature still in the comfortable range into the 60s to around 70 degrees, but they're going to start creeping up. Feels like temperatures may be a little warmer than the actual temperature, into the low to mid 80s. Visible satellite pictures showing some puffy cumulus clouds showing up. Even the possibility of a light shower around Dewey Beach near the Indian River Bridge, and then back through Ocean View as we have this flow coming off the ocean. Not going to be heavy rain, but a spotty shower is possible. You can see those extending to the south and east as we have high pressure to the north, and we have the flow coming in out of the east-southeast. So a bit of a moist flow, but relatively quiet flow with high pressure over the top of us as those winds are coming in out of the east. So as we go into the afternoon, that chance of a isolated shower, especially along the coast by 2 p.m., we're in the low to mid 80s away from the beaches and 70s and low 80s at the coast, and looks pretty quiet and mild into this evening. Day part forecast, that easterly flow with a little more moisture and lower 80s this afternoon. Then we really crank up the heat and humidity towards the end of the week, and unfortunately some showers and storms for the weekend. Much more on your forecast coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
Thank you, Bob. And we're still awaiting details of what caused the Tuesday night crash in Ocean City. What we do know is that it occurred on Route 50 in Inlet Isle. We have some pictures from the Ocean City Fire Department at that scene. This is just after 8 p.m. and according to the department, Maryland State Police Aviation Command was flying one person to shock trauma. We do not have an update on their status. Staying on the Worcester County coast, the Ocean City Police Department announcing the mayor and city council ratified a new collective bargaining agreement with Lodge Number 10 Fraternal Order of Police. According to the department, the new pay scale features an entry level starting of $64,000, and OCPD says its next in-person testing session for those interested in joining its ranks is July 26. A hiker was injured in a bear mauling in Alaska on Tuesday. The bear attacked a woman hiking just before 2:30 p.m. First responders launched a rescue operation on Tuesday after a reported bear mauling near the Basher Trailhead in Anchorage. The woman was eventually found with the help of drones and helicopters and airlifted to a hospital.
It was very difficult terrain for our guys to access the patient, and fortunately Helo 3 was able to land and transport that patient to further medical assistance.
Yeah, officials say the woman is in stable condition with what appears to be non-life-threatening injuries. New this morning, Columbia University has disciplined more than 70 students for participating in 2 student-led pro-Palestinian protests on campus where there were anti-Semitic acts occurring. The disciplinary crackdown comes several months after the Trump administration cut hundreds of millions of dollars in federal research grants to the university Following those cuts, Columbia agreed to adjust its disciplinary process and implement a long list of new policies in order to begin negotiations in restoring federal funding. Before you hit the beach, you should check where you plan to have fun in the sand and surf. DENREC is issuing swim advisories for 3 beaches. The department says high levels of fecal indicator bacteria found at Herring Point Beach, that's at Cape Henlopen State Park, Lewis Beach North, and then there's Savannah Beach in Lewis. Health officials say the risk of illness from elevated bacteria is greatest for people with certain medical conditions or weakened immune systems. The advisories are lifted once bacteria levels are below the standard. Delaware GOP Chair Julianne Murray announcing she is resigning that post. She was recently sworn in as U.S. Attorney for Delaware. It's a role she says demands her full attention. Murray says she's stepping down to avoid being a distraction and to let party leaders do their work without drama. Acting Chair Jim Weldon and the Executive Committee will continue leading the party. Coming up, new health options, what BB Healthcare unveiled, and what is coming this fall for cardio patients. CoastTV News Midday is back after this. BB Healthcare has launched its new Cardiovascular Institute. The healthcare organization says this is a comprehensive, team-based approach that connects patients with heart, lung, and vascular specialists in Sussex County. And with the announcements, BB is welcoming a new doctor to help open its general cardiology practice. And in the fall, BB says new systems will improve patient communication. Delaware State Fair continues today with a full schedule of events. Gates have already opened, and organizers say today marks Armed Forces Day. All active duty and retired military get free admission with a valid military ID. There's also a zoo experience with this. That's at 11 a.m. with the fair calls the Menagerie. And at 1:30 p.m. it's racing corgis. 7 p.m. the Delaware State Fair Parade, and a lot more of activities to enjoy today. Fair ends on July 26. Now, coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, we have live minor league baseball. Delmarva Shorebirds continuing their series with the Lynchburg Hillcats. That's at 7, and then you can catch the final score at 10:30. And on DSM Plus, 12:15, less than about an hour from now, you can watch USSSA Eastern National Softball Championships. Little League Softball Mid-Atlantic Regional Tournament, that's happening this week. The Delmarva Sports Network is there in Bristol, Connecticut, covering Delaware's Camden, Wyoming squad. That's brought to you by Preston Automotive. We have live updates on the Delmarva Sports Network app, website, and social media.
Here's a live look into Lewis on the Tullen and Razor Cam. Gorgeous. Look at all the sailboats on Delaware Bay. Just a few clouds out there. Gorgeous conditions into the afternoon hours, into the 80s. And we're going to see the temperatures and humidity start to climb, and pretty hot as we head into Friday. Then for the weekend, unfortunately, showers and storms are increasing. I'll have your weekend forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. Congratulations to Tom Singo from Lewis on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and CoastTV. Much more on the warm-up and that wetter weekend forecast coming up after the break. We have a gorgeous late July day in progress right now. We're seeing green conditions on the ground. Lots of rain, of course, the last several weeks. Tyndall's Casual Furniture Cam, 80 in Laurel. Some of those puffy cumulus clouds right now. Dew point 67. Humidity still in the tolerable range as temperatures warm into the low 80s this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. If you're headed to Harrington to the fairgrounds and taking in the fair this afternoon, pretty good. 81 at 1 p.m. We'll call it partly sunny. By 4 around 84. Similar conditions. And then 80 at 7 o'clock. Make sure you have plenty of sunscreen and water. It's going to be a warm one out there, and it's staying sunny and warm the next couple of days. I think we're going to see more in the way of humidity, temperatures rising through the 80s, and then by Friday we're back to the July heat with temperatures into the mid-90s, and feels like temperatures at least 100 degrees. I think it's even hotter than that in some places. We'll take a look at that in just a second. But temperatures right now, lower 80s inland areas, 80 in Laurel and Delmar, Millsboro 82, Redden 83, a little cooler at the beach at 78, Lewis 77, Bethany Beach, Ocean City 79. Water temperatures here are in the mid to upper 70s, so that is where the direction of the wind is coming right now. Dew points in the 60s to around 70 degrees, so this easterly flow is starting to increase the humidity across the area. It feels like temperatures right now in the low to mid 80s and still feeling like 70s at the coast. And there's that easterly breeze, not especially strong, but it's bringing in moisture Also some puffy clouds on the visible satellite picture, and maybe even a light shower around the Indian River Bay and then back through Ocean View area. But these are very, very light. You can see they're kind of fading away. But around Ocean View, you could be looking at a shower right now. More of those showers extend to the south and east. You can see the clouds popping up across Delmarva and back to the west, even a few showers into Maryland. But it's high pressure that's starting to slide offshore. We have that flow coming in out of the east-southeast, eventually turning more to the south with time and bringing in very warm air. That's on the other side of the stationary boundary. So this afternoon, I think we're in the low to mid 80s inland areas, 70s at the coast. I think any kind of showers will be drying up as we go into later this afternoon and evening. 70s and 80s at the beaches, low to mid 80s inland, and a good looking evening on the way and mainly clear skies overnight. By tomorrow morning, another comfortable start with temperatures in the 60s, but later Thursday, we're looking at mid to upper 80s with 70s and 80s at the beaches. And as we go into the evening hours Thursday, I think we're going to increase the humidity and that southerly wind. By Friday morning, lower 70s and then really hot by the afternoon, 92 to 95 away from the coast, even some beach locations in the lower 90s, and feels like temperatures by 5 p.m. Friday, 100 in Salisbury and Millsboro, and mid to upper 90s along the coast as we're seeing the tolerable humidity levels the next couple of days, but then it shoots up into the very humid to miserable range. And then heading into the weekend, not a washout, but increasing storms later Saturday, and I think those could be lingering into Sunday as well. Maybe some heavier rain than drying out on Monday. 83 in Dover today in Millsboro, 80 in Rehoboth. We've got 87 in Cambridge, 84 in Federalsburg, and Princess Anne and Pocomoke City at 85. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. Those temperatures bouncing up big time and pretty hot by Friday. Sunshine 94, upper 80s to close to 90 over the weekend with showers and storms. Those linger into Sunday, and it dries out Monday, partly cloudy, 88 degrees.
All right, thanks, Bob. We're tracking the weather for next week, too, because we have an event unique to Delmarva that is quickly approaching. The 100th Chincoteague Pony Swim takes place July 30th. You can watch the event live on DSN and DSN Plus with coverage beginning at 7 a.m. And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
Halfway through the week, and we've got your afternoon pick-me-up for you today at 4 on Coast Life. You can join us to chat with one of the artists from our friends at the Art League of Ocean City. Also, Delaware State Fair is still going strong, and one of my favorite parts about the State Fair, of course, is all the delicious and deep-fried eats. So we're going to do a little bit of a food tour of the Delaware State Fair as well. We're also going to introduce you to a new cardiologist with our friends at BB Healthcare. All that fun and more is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
Here's President Donald Trump on Tuesday touting what he described as a massive trade deal with Japan, America's 5th largest source of imports. The agreement proposes a 15% reciprocal tariff on Japanese goods exported to the United States. The deal also calls for Tokyo to invest $550 billion into the U.S. The president says America will receive 90% of the profits. FDA is having issues with AI. Earlier this year, the Food and Drug Administration unveiled ELSA. That's an AI tool designed to speed up the process for approving drugs and medical devices. But according to 3 FDA employees, ELSA is creating studies that don't exist. The employees say that makes it hard to trust the tool for vital work and research. CoastTV News Midday returns in a moment. According to the CDC, 1 in 3 U.S. adults report not getting enough sleep every day. Mandy Gaither shows some simple ways to get some good Z's.
Just like eating, drinking, and breathing, sleep is a basic need and one many in the U.S. don't meet.
Most people have difficulty falling asleep at one point or another, or they wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep.
Sleep deficiency is linked to many chronic health problems like heart disease, kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, obesity, and depression. If you're having problems getting those Z's, there are simple ways to set yourself up for success, says Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
The first one is something called cognitive shuffling, where you think of random, non-emotional words, and then you pick an item and spend a few seconds thinking of words that start with each letter in that item. So, for example, let's use shoe. The first letter is S, sock, soccer, spoon. Then H, horse, hare, hippo. You get the idea.
Gupta says this practice can help quiet your mind and block stressful thoughts that may be keeping you awake. Next tactic, he says to rely on good old-fashioned comfort.
Sleep with your socks on maybe. Use a weighted blanket. Even snuggle with the stuffed animal, no matter how old you are.
Finally, understand what makes you sleep and turn whatever that is into a habit that you follow every night before going to bed.
These tips and sticking to a nightly routine can provide signals to your body that it's time to wind down.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
We're seeing some clouds in Ocean View right now, possibly a sprinkle there, otherwise near 80 there, mid-80s inland as temperatures and humidity start to climb. Pretty hot as we head into your Friday. Call the CoastTV First Alert weather phone. Your forecast just a call away. Sponsored by Brockstead Mandalis Federico. Your 10-day forecast is next. Good looking summer weather heading into the afternoon. A mix of sun and clouds, maybe a few sprinkles, light showers, especially at the beaches. And then 70s and really nice this evening. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Temperatures are going up. 88 Thursday, 94 Friday, but feeling like lower triple digits with the humidity. Showers and storms into the weekend. I know not the best timing, but looks like some storms later. Saturday, 89, storm Sunday, 90 degrees. And then looks like 80s and 90s next week. We could be ending the month of July with some storms as we head into Thursday and 87 degrees.
Thanks, Bob, and thank you for joining us for Coast TV News Midday. And for more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Don't forget to watch later for Coast TV News at 5. Until then, have a great Wednesday, everybody.